Hello, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity to spend time with you and to have an encouraging and engaging conversation with you. My name is Jana Masick. I'm the host of Broadcast Powering Unique You. This is where we create encouraging conversations to help you accelerate your career and expand your potential and become a better leader. Today, I am so honored to have my wonderful friends and peers in human resource industry, Elena Anderson DeLay and Tiffany Castagno. Welcome, wonderful ladies.
Thanks, Jana.
So happy to have you here. And I would love for you to introduce yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and your story and what you do right now. And then we dive right into our conversation, which I believe is going to be so impactful. Elena, why don't you start and share a little bit about yourself with us?
Thank you, Jana. I have my own firm that does consulting with immigration and global human resources. I've been in business since 2018, and I'm based outside of Washington, D.C. in Maryland.
Good. That's very good. And Tiffany, would you share a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. Thanks again for having me. I am CEO of Zephyr, cultivating the evolution of professional HR. And so we are newly launched. I've been in HR for 12 years now. Love what I do. Love having exciting conversations like this. I am originally from Milwaukee, and I currently reside in Pittsburgh.
Wow, we're connected, I think, throughout the US. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. And thanks to this technology, I can see your smiley faces and we can also connect with our viewers. And as you join in today, I would love for you to say hi, stop by and drop us a question. Tell us where you're from, tell us what you're enjoying today. And if you do find the value in this broadcast, please share it on your page. We'll appreciate that. So today, our discussion is about a very important topic, I believe. It's about building and cultivating the meaningful professional relationships. And I would love to start to maybe you sharing with me, Tiffany and Elena, what professional relationship mean to you, and how do you see why they are so important? And Tiffany, would you love to start?
Sure. So for me, it really is about connection. And that's the crux of what I do in HR and any relationship that I build. And it's so important. Every relationship, every business needs a relationship. So that's the foundation. And the greatest part about it is that you get to build that and you create those building blocks, which is what I'm so excited to help people do and the HR consulting firm that I have. And so really it starts with getting to know each other and finding out how you can help each other, what those connecting points are, but also what sets you apart and what makes you different. And it's seeking out people with those diverse skill sets that maybe you don't have. So they learn from you and you learn from them. And for me, that's been the greatest part. And I intentionally seek out people who have a skill set that I don't have. So
this is wonderful. This is so important. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Tiffany. And Elena, would you share with us what it means to you, the professional relationships and the importance of those?
They're definitely something that have evolved for me throughout my professional career, but the emphasis has been more on the relationship, as Tiffany referenced, than just the professional side. Mm-hmm. You begin to learn more about individuals that you meet and work with, and it's a level of trust. So as you evolve professionally and maybe move from one position to the other, you carry those relationships, which evolve into friendships along with you. And it's an ecosystem that supports you when you're not necessarily engaged with where you are, what you're doing for the day. It keeps you sharp and also keeps you encouraged no matter what happens in your personal life. And I really value them.
Yes, I agree with that. I do believe that creating relationships that are meaningful in a professional realm do create an ecosystem. It is good for us to have a great, strong connections with our family, with our friends, and creating those type of connections and even friendship in the professional sphere do have some additional benefits to that. And I love, Tiffany, how you shared on, creating the diversity and creating the different skill set network with people that are maybe stronger in some areas that you are not, right? And someone that maybe can give you an advice in another area that maybe you're struggling with, and vice versa, that you can support those people. So I think that is a beauty of creating the professional, relationships that really support you in achieving your goals in your careers. And I would love for you to maybe share a story that you reflect back and you think of the relationship or some relationships that have helped you to get where you are today. Elena, would you like to start?
Oh, that's a great one. In thinking back, I have friendships that evolved from an internship that I had more than 15 years ago. Gosh, it may be 20 years now. That as we grow, we learn, we give opportunities, and it's also a support system that I've had. And when I moved to the DC area, I did an internship with a nonprofit that I really felt passionate about, and being able to connect with other individuals during the internship and follow along throughout careers with that same passion has been so fulfilling. And it also has taught me so many valuable lessons. Not just office etiquette, but the technical skills, even getting opportunities and getting support and references when you've experienced a setback or you're looking to make a change. And it's something where it allowed me to kind of learn more about the local city. I was brand new to Washington, D.C., and now I've been here for quite some time, and we've moved around and we've done different things, but I still hold dear those initial relationships that I have.
Yes, this is a wonderful story. Tiffany, how about you? Do you have some stories that you reflect back that really have shaped you and helped you to accelerate, grow, and become the person that you are today?
Yeah, I would say I found some alignment in what Elena was saying as well. But one of the experiences that I found to be extremely enriching for me, and that when I'm helping mentor people, that I share is a great idea, is to join a board. And that has been one of the pinnacles of what's helped launch my career and help me develop as a human and as a professional. And sitting around people who know a lot more, to the point that I said earlier, than I do. And I learned more about how to look at a financial statement. I was not familiar with that at all. And so I was able to stretch myself and grow. And having already had a community charitable mindset, but working in a different aspect, it was a community health center. I knew nothing about those at the time, certainly had worked for nonprofit and volunteered, but got an opportunity to meet a diverse set of people who had skills that I didn't have, learned what it is about a board and how they govern. And those are key business skills that I now keep with me, and that I also learned as an HR professional to learn what those skills are and how to translate them, as well as be a part of something larger. So those are definitely things that I keep with me today.
I agree with you, Tiffany and Elena. I can reflect on that as well and give an example of my experience. I've joined Southeastern Regional Relocation Council 2 years ago. It's a nonprofit organization that supports education and helping relocation professionals and professionals in HR who manage relocation mobility in-house here in South Florida and in the Southeast area. And creating the events. Right now we don't have events in COVID, but creating an events, 2 conferences a year. And I joined 2 years ago, and I can tell you that those are professional relationships with peers that have enriched my experiences, my understanding. I can reflect and absolutely agree with you, Tiffany, that have given me a broader understanding of how a nonprofit organization run, and also beauty of seeing people coming together and creating something that is voluntarily. They're not getting compensated for that, but it's being driven by mission, being driven by passion, and then being able to call those people and spend spend some discussions. Maybe it's in a professional realm or even in a friendship discussion. So that is very, very valuable. And I feel right now is, and we've chatted just a bit before we went live, right now is a very in a way intimidating and in a way very dark, so to speak, time with the pandemic and with the most recent events. I feel all of us are affected. And there's a lot of people that have lost their jobs as well and struggling financially. And this is not an easy time to reach out and start building relationships or start building connections, let's say maybe on LinkedIn, or finding a new people to connect with professionally. Would you give us some advice or maybe some tips on how our listeners or viewers can reach out and how they can initiate those relationships and what steps they can take? Tiffany, would you like to start?
Sure. I think one of the things that's very helpful and has been very valuable for me, particularly as I'm working to build a business, but it's very important. Elaine and I touched on those personal relationships, the trust, the building blocks. Certainly, if you are engaging on posts or you are finding interesting articles or you love to write like I do, you can certainly share that information out, and it attracts like energy. So it attracts people who are either in your same field or who have a different skill set, and it allows you to have a larger reach. And so for me, that has been fantastic to be able to meet people I never would have met. I think that, especially right now in this pandemic where we can't necessarily see each other, we're not having these large conferences and events as we usually would. Leverage LinkedIn. It is a fantastic platform for that. And so there are things you can do. You can search hashtags. That's one great way to learn that, or hashtag your own posts. And you will find that people will connect. It is a great way to connect with different people. And again, I will keep hammering on this, and forgive me if I'm driving you crazy, but it is really, really important to know and seek out other alternatives. And especially with what's going on right now, that is one way to build education and to learn from each other. So I will say that again, it's just pull from different experiences and different
Yes.
people who don't think like you.
This is great advice, Tiffany. I love it. And Elena, would you like to expand and elaborate on that, please?
Certainly. I know just the other issue that we touched on was just the importance of volunteering or having a volunteer leadership experience. Speaking both as an introvert that struggled cold calling or reaching out or trying to establish that relationship initially or make that initial contact, I really plugged into my passion and served organizations that kind of allowed me to build my skills, as both of you have mentioned, but connect other people. The other value of doing that is to have people see you. It increases your visibility. And they see your work ethic. They're like, oh, if you're this passionate, if you show up for the board meeting or the team meeting, if you are organized, if you are cheerful and really care about the broader mission, certainly this is someone I would have on my team. And oftentimes those connections help you when you are looking for new employment, you're looking for something different. Many times they serve as a pipeline for things that are in the making. So maybe you can hear about an upcoming job or opportunity. So when these moments happen, when you just, I guess the bottom falls out and you are unemployed or with maybe a business owner, and you're just trying to grow your clientele and you don't know where to start, you at least have a place to start or a place to reach out to. There's also the way that it gives you a sense of purpose. Oftentimes we define ourselves by our work or the work that we do. And when you're still plugged in, you can still know what's going on, stay current with your field, but also have something to do. You can be active, and that has such a positive effect on your mental well-being and being able to stay sharp, stay agile, and stay connected with what's next.
Yes. Well, both of you given so valuable tips. Tiffany, you touched on LinkedIn. I believe that LinkedIn has so much potential when you use it right, and when you come in and showcase your skill set, showcase your energy, showcase your positive attitude, when you engage and comment on other people's posts, and when you share other people's information. And by the way, if you do like this broadcast, share it and with your community, and put the tips on what you love the most from it. That's another way for you to support us here, and also say that you can bring value to your community. And LinkedIn has a lot of potential, and I love that, Tiffany, you and I have connected on LinkedIn, and it just came
Yeah.
out of just the conversation, and we say let's connect and have conversation, and out of this it grown to a true friendship. I'm very honored to get to know you more, and to see how you work, how you're passionate about human resources. You launch your own company, and you want to do good in this world, and you want to make changes. It's admirable. And Elena, you touched on very important part, is how the nonprofit organization, and there's many professional nonprofit organizations that are available. And in fact, I'll take this as a recruitment opportunity. Southeastern Regional Relocation Council is also looking for board members. So if you're in the relo and HR that do have a mobility or relocation, do reach out to me. We'll chat. We have probably 4 or 5 seats that are coming up next year. So there are many
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
organizations. Yes,
Yeah,
there are many
amazing.
organizations that are looking for volunteers. And what you've covered, Elena, is important, so important. I can tell you, I have not volunteered prior to Southeastern Regional Relocation, and I feel I missed out on so much. If I had started it, back earlier in my career, I feel that that would have expedited and accelerated my growth. And because it does give you that diverse connections, that and different level of people. There's some people that are in a leadership position. There's some people that in a business development that have very good business skill set and sales skill set. There's some people that are very good financial acumen. So that in it surrounding yourself with those type of people that are working together toward the mission is really, really powerful, and you can create true opportunities for yourself by building and investing into those type of relationships. And I love our conversation today, and thank you so much for joining me. And I do have some people that are putting in notes. We have Robo. Let me just say here, we have Robert saying hello from New
Hey,
York City.
Robert.
So good to see you,
Hello, good
Robert.
to see you.
Yes, he's also saying that I totally agree. The power of collaborating with professionals who have diverse skill set is so helpful. I agree with you, Robert. And so good to have you here. Sandra Cleary saying hi. Thank you for sharing today. Thank you, Sarah, for showing up and encouraging and supporting us. And we have Leonardo here saying hi, Jana, Elena, and Tiffany from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So good to have
Wow.
you here, Leonardo. Thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, say hi to us as you come in, and feel free to drop the questions if you have any questions for each one of us. We'll be happy to respond. So as we dive into that, I would like to see, now that you found a way, you perhaps you got more engaged on LinkedIn, you start following up and connecting with people on LinkedIn. Then let's say you've joined an organization, and you touched on this, Elena. Some people may be like introverts. It's really, really difficult to, even you do not know, how do you start the conversation, how do you what do you talk about? Maybe you could give me some practical tips on, I meet a stranger on LinkedIn, we've connected, now what, right? So what do we do from there? Elena, would you like to give us that insight, please?
Yeah, definitely. It's actually easier to connect digitally for introverts because you can at least have a door open and there's an opportunity to do your homework So you get to see some of the things that the potential contact is interested in, like their articles, maybe their similar education background or other groups that you share together. So that can start as a conversation piece. And I often use the tool of just saying, hey, can we connect for have a 10-minute, 15-minute conversation, or just have a back and forth. Thank you for connecting. I always make sure that I start with gratitude, because you can send out that request and they just ignore it or not do it. But when they, accept your request, I make sure that I show my appreciation and just offer to connect. Sometimes if they're busy, they may not set a date or time, but I follow up. And once you're connected, the great algorithm of LinkedIn will send reminders about either events they're going to when they're mentioned in the news, or even birthday announcements. So just take those moments to have an authentic outreach for them and say, hey, I noticed, I haven't connected with you in a while. Can we have a conversation? Or maybe especially if you're going to the same event or conference, try to connect in person. And once you've done a few touch points, it may be a slow start, but it will be a start, and you're able to make those connections and kind of exchange ideas. And you never know, it may be someone who finds something interesting for you and refers over to you, or maybe traveling in your location and want to have coffee. So it can end in a myriad of ways, but it's very easy to open the door, because it's not that you're not in this crowded room, neck and neck with, free wine and, loud talking. You're able to focus just on that one person and kind of find a common ground.
Yes, this is good. These are all great tips and advice. Tiffany, would you like to expand on that, please? Or add
Oh
some
man, I
more?
think I think Elena caught all of them for us. I love that you talked about gratitude. I think we see so much of that, kind of in our personal lives and online, but that is such a key point. I will echo that, because how many times do we get just, people in our inbox asking us, what we do for a living, or, wanting to make a sale, but people like to know that they are valued and that they want to be able to help. And so showing gratitude is a great connector. I practice the same, and I think that it's so important. I would say, if you are an introvert and you're struggling to figure out, like, how do I reach out? What do I do? Elena gave some great points. And I think too, starting with what you're passionate about, or what you liked about that person's profile, or how you see the two of you connecting and engaging, and what you can learn from them. Again, people love to help. They want to be able to help. And so you can be, to Elena's point, completely authentic that way. You don't have to, reach for something that's outside of your wheelhouse. Really just start with what you're really looking to do. Authenticity goes such a long way.
Yes, I agree with both of you. These are very good steps and good strategies to keep in mind. I would like to add is also noticing, and you mentioned that also, noticing the person's interests, noticing the person's achievements, and noticing maybe someone has really progressed very well within the same company, but really has grown in a career. And I've came across a couple of profiles like this, and I said, wow, this is admirable. In a way, not too many people show that dedication nowadays to a company, but also noticing that a person has grown, not just staying stagnant in one role, but has grown over a period of time with that company. So there is a lesson to learn there, and I would point it out to say this is really admirable. I see that you've been dedicated to the company, you've grown your career, and you have achieved a way to be able to grow within the company. How did you do that? So people love answering questions about themselves. So when you are curious, genuinely curious about people's achievements, people's how valuable they are. You showcase that to them, and you ask them questions that, how did you do that, or what helped you to, progress from this role to another role. I was curious about that with Elena. I said, Elena, what helped when we had a conversation? Elena, what helped you to build your own business? How did you make that jump from corporate role into building a business? And Tiffany, you're right, they are the same. That's a great conversation starters, because people love talking about themselves, versus to sometimes when you come in and you say, do you have a job for me? You know, that's
Yeah.
not very good beginner. That's not very good conversation starter. People are going to be like, no. And I've got those messages. I've had several people
Or
reaching
you
out to me,
busy? Yeah.
and the
You're not,
first message to say, do you have a job for me? This is my resume. I said, well, no, I don't really have a job for you. But yes, it's really good to start from the place of curiosity, and showcasing the achievement of the other person that you truly admire, and then asking some of the curious questions, and that may help you to create and initiate those first steps. Wonderful.
I
And
agree.
yeah, and I feel strengthening. How about strengthening? So you have this initial discussions, maybe you have this initial conversation, or maybe you are serving with someone on the board, you've had some interactions with the person. What do you do to strengthen those relationships, and really maybe take them to another level, to perhaps even create some partnership or collaboration opportunities? What are your strategies on that? Elena, would you like to start?
Sure. Once you have the relationship, it evolves when you nurture and cultivate it. So it
Mm-hmm.
could be working together as a team and making sure that, again, like I mentioned before, that you show up and that you're accountable and that you are prepared. That that kind of builds your personal brand, and it also builds trust and respect with those that you are working with. And when that happens, people enjoy working with you, and they look for the next opportunity to work with you, whether it's in another volunteer moment or it could be in a professional way. They're like excited, and oftentimes jobs and opportunities are queued up like a year or sometimes 2 years in advance. So
Yes.
it doesn't help to um, kind of call around and ask for a job,
Mm-hmm.
because usually that person doesn't control it. There's always the robot, and then there's also the central recruiting team or the talent management team that would filter it. But if you have those authentic relationships, then you have an in-house champion or an advocate for you to say,
Yes.
look out for this person. Here
Mm-hmm.
she is coming. I want to make sure that here she is on my team. And that would be great. But it doesn't take a lot. It just, takes checking in on people. If you've completed an assignment with a nonprofit together, and a few months have rolled by, just check back in. Hey, I enjoyed the time we worked together. Boy, it was a mess, but it was great. Laughing, I was laughing the entire time. And, if there's nothing else, show your appreciation for the time that you had with that other person. Just, thank you for helping me out. I didn't remember it then. I remember it now. And you were just such a great support person, speaker, presenter, expert. Just, you never know. It could even make their day and brighten up and give them some sunshine and just a level of support. So there are different small touches you can do
Mm-hmm.
to continue nurturing those relationships and optimizing your network capital. So you never know, if you build those relationships, if you trust them, those relationships will eventually take care of you.
Oh, you have given so many important nuggets here, Elena, in just a short few
I know from
sentences.
experience, like you don't know until
It's so
things
true.
shifts, and
Yes, it's so
those
true. And
relationships
oh yeah,
hold you up. They remind you of your value. They remind
yes.
you of your skills that you have to offer, and they keep you encouraged when you're like, oh, it's me. Oh, I can't do it. who would work, that imposter syndrome, oftentimes women have, minorities may have it, just internal insecurities. All of a sudden, this esteemed professional, we all convert to, a 2-year-old when things are uncertain. We're just
Yes, you have
shy, and you
lots
just
of
need that
thumbs up.
push. Oftentimes it could be just, someone liking what you said, something that you posted, or, adding a comment to something that you've shared, especially when it's something personal.
Yes.
And they decide to call or email you too to say, it's going to be okay. I've been through this. I know someone you can speak to. And just being able to share it opens the door for so many opportunities. So I've definitely been there and can testify that it works. It works, and it
This
doesn't take
is,
a lot of effort.
you share it from your experience, and this is so valuable, I believe, for all of our listeners. You take that and implement that, and you see how your network capital, I love how you phrase this, network capital is growing. A lot of times we put effort and energy into developing a professional skill set, and we work hard and we execute hard, and we don't place enough value in and many people who are safe and feel secure in jobs, which I feel COVID has shaken all of us. But previously, if you feel safe and secure in your job, you feel like, well, I'm just good. I may stay here for another year, 2, 3, and you don't think about building and creating this network capital, network connections. If you don't invest into that, it doesn't just appear out of nowhere. You have to put effort in it. You have to have a calendar, have it on the calendar, and to say, I'm going to connect with at least one new person and expand my professional reach this week. And make a time to make the phone call, to get to know somebody, to initiate that relationship. And then, as you mentioned, so much importantly, nurture those, because you just never know where the next opportunity may come about. And one of the studies that I came across is that 80% of the jobs on the market are being filled by referrals. And I would say, with now the amount of people that do not have jobs, those real connections, those true network, the capital that you have is much more important. And don't wait until you lose a job to start building it. Build it every day, a little bit at a time, and that will really, really serve you. So find the people, like you mentioned, Elena, that will become your talent champions, that will say, this is a great person, and refer you, if not on if not on their team, but maybe to somebody else. And that will really take you far. And I also believe is bringing value to people, and see, maybe you can find somebody that you can support, right? It's two hands. You find somebody who will hopefully support you and nurture those relationships, and then you build somebody that may be lower, on a little bit of a lower career steps than you are, and nurture and become a mentor to somebody, to nurture someone who is maybe less experienced than you are, and become that talent champion for somebody else. Tiffany, please share your tips with us and how you nurture and strengthen your professional relationships.
Yeah, I 150% echo both of what you said. I would say, be curious, be brave, pay it forward, and that encompasses a lot of what the two of you shared. I would say, curiosity, Jana, you talked about this before, is so beneficial. So if you're just asking questions, or you're curious about something, I have a very curious mind. I think sometimes people are like, you ask so many questions, but it's because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. Because if you hold that in and you don't ask the questions, then you only suffer for that. So being curious, one, it shows that you want to learn and you want to grow, and people, again, want to help. They want to be there. I would say be brave. I recently reached out to the CEO, another woman CEO of an organization, because I just loved her fire. And she had a different skill set than I didn't have. And I didn't even know if she would connect with me. I'm like, she doesn't know me, but she did. And I'm so grateful for that. Also, so to that point, and the point that you made, Jana, it doesn't have to be someone on your level. Preferably connect with someone who is at a higher level in maybe the organization, or again, back to a different type of role that you're in, because that
Mhm.
will stretch you. Growing your career is not always vertical. It can
Yeah.
be, horizontal as well. And I have had some of my best learning and promotion from stretch opportunities. And I've had fantastic mentors and bosses who have helped get me there. I would say too, obviously pay it forward. What's the value in that? Well, now not only did you get help, but that person did too. And people then will see that you're authentic and they love someone who is going to give back. So that those three pieces: be curious, be brave, and pay it forward, I would say it.
Oh, this is gold. And as both of you are speaking, we have like thumbs ups and a lot of encouragement on LinkedIn. People are just really enjoying. I can see that there's a value in that. So I'm really, really happy to be here with you and having this conversation. I feel this is so important nowadays, for all of us to feel more
Yeah.
connected, right? For all of us to feel more like even you posted, Tiffany, we are stronger together, right? When we support and encourage each other, we become stronger together. We give value to others, and then we nurture the relationships, and that can really benefit people around us. Sometimes, and you touched on this, Tiffany, the energy of the person is so important, right? There's some people that very energetic, and it's the meaning behind powering in EQ is really generate your own energy from within. Be positive, become, optimistic, look at good things, focus on things you want to achieve. So when we meet people like this that are very energetic, that are going and stretching themselves, we can't help but feel connections, right? And to your point, Tiffany, you reached out to a stranger, and I did that a couple times. And in fact, one of those guests will be on my next week's show, which is a completely stranger, but I admire her energy. She's just amazing, and she shows up. And I said, I want to connect. I can tell you, she has not responded to me for several weeks. And to your point, Elena, I keep checking in. I keep persistently sending a message, and I say, maybe you have so many messages that you have not seen mine. By the way, I do admire what you do, and I do want to have a discussion with you because I believe you have a lot of value, and I want to bring value to you by inviting you to be guest on my show. So anyway, so she's agreeing. And
Oh,
finally,
that's awesome.
I've got a connection. So I get to show you to you ladies and to all of my community.
But
It's going to be
Jana, I want to point out one thing that you said, which was reflective of being intentional. You
Mhm.
mentioned like sometimes you have to schedule your outreach, and we all get busy. We all have those moments. But what if you pick an arbitrary day of the month and say, okay, this is the moment where I make sure I reconnect with someone. And let's say it's the 17th of the month, and every 17th of the month, so the closest day to it, if it falls on the weekend, I will reach out to whoever pops in my head first. And you
Yes.
just never know what happens. And I've done that a few times, and it's been
Mhm.
really great. Being self-aware, I know that I'm horrible with holiday cards. I can never get them out. I have holiday cards and just different greeting cards for years on end, and I just can never mail them out. But sending those messages, or I fill them out and I just walk around with them in my purse and never drop them in the mailbox. It's just really terrible. But I try to do outreach in a different way where I know that I can make it happen. I can make that connection. How many
Mhm.
times have we thought about someone and never connected with them, and they've moved on or their contact information changed, and it's just, different. And you have, lo and behold, you haven't spoken to them in 10 years. And,
Yes.
then it's awkward, to make that reconnection. So be intentional. And I like what you said about calendaring your connections.
I agree, Elena. I've learned something. I've learned from Brendan Burchard that I love his book. I've read his book about high performance habits. And one of the broadcasts that he put together, he said, if it's not on your calendar, it's not happening.
Yep.
And it really stood out to me because he said, if you want to achieve something in your life, whether you're studying a new skill, whether you're expanding your network, whether you are working on some side projects, whatever it may be. For maybe you are working on some, some specific thing that is important to you. If it's not on your calendar, you're really not diligent about it. You're really not, it's not valuable to you enough. So putting that on the calendar, say, I want to give at least 30 minutes or an hour a week. And these are my blocks where I'm going to dedicate to stretch out and to talk to someone new, someone that I do not know, someone that it's not in my circle. And then find another 15 minutes to maybe send those nurturing sentences or nurturing messages, or send somebody a voice note on LinkedIn, actually on your phone. On your app, you can send a voice note to somebody. And that's a very personalized way to just say, hi, I'm thinking about you. I hope you're good during these times. Everybody's affected. There's so many things happening around us. Everyone is affected, and I'm thinking about you. Just that kind of a gesture can really go a long way. And I do have some people tuning in and saying things to us here. We have a couple of comments here. We have Luinas saying hello from Algeria. Hi, Luinas. Good to see you. We have a Summer saying hi from Texas. Thank you, ladies, for sharing with us today. This is awesome. And also Summer saying those small touches are so key. They're important indeed. And we have here Sandra saying, yes, this is always good to take the focus on yourself and work on behalf of others, so that the more so during these times, it would be too easy to think that it needs to be all about me. This is so true, Sandra. We touched about giving value to others and thinking it. Then Jill saying curious, agile, and pay forward, all gems. This is so true. Ladies, I just want to compliment you and thank you
My
for coming here today and sharing so many nuggets, so many golden actionable tips with us. Everybody's agreeing, and there's so many thumbs up and hearts coming in. And then Summer saying what you focus on grows. This is so true. Summer's cheering me, saying go Jana, and signing up this new guest. She's going to be amazing next week.
Yay!
And she's also saying, you're not alone, Elena. I have my holiday cards in the box in the office. Well, this is so true. Yes. And Bozala saying, thank you so much. Well, we are so honored to have you here tuning in today and joining us on this show. And I say maybe some final thoughts, Elena and Tiffany, some takeaways, some final actionable things, or some of the considerations that you would like to share with our audience today. Tiffany, would you like to go?
Sure. I think, I'll start with what I last led with, which is be curious, be brave, and pay it forward. I think, for me, that sums it all up. I would, just kind of add on to that, the authenticity piece, because when you're not being sincere, if you're disingenuous, people sense that. And you never want to be put in a situation where you have to backpedal because you're not being your authentic self. Whether you're an introvert or you're highly extroverted like me, even though I'm extroverted, I'm going to have to rest after this because I pour so much energy into it. But pouring your energy into it, doing what you love, being passionate and sticking by what you know and love, and pouring that back out into the world is so critical. If you need any tips, if you need somebody to listen, I'm here too. So I'm just grateful, I guess gratitude as well. Just grateful for this opportunity today. Grateful for everyone who listened in, and just for what I have in life. So, yeah.
This is good, Tiffany. Thank you. Elena, would you like to share your thoughts with us? Final thoughts?
Yeah, if there's a nugget to leave with everyone, it would be not to be afraid to share your story. You're never as alone as you think you are. And it only takes a baby step to really start that full journey. And any step is, doable, whether it's an electronic step, an in-person step. Moving forward will allow you to progress in your journey.
Yes, this is wonderful. That don't feel that you need to be set back. Pay it forward, take an action. And for me, my biggest takeaway for me this year is related to your, Elena, what you said is taking, embracing your story, right? Embracing your story. Sometimes we feel our stories are not special. Sometimes we feel there's nothing unique about me, right? Sometimes we don't see our own value in this world. I want to encourage each one of you as you're listening and tuning into this. You are valuable. You are unique. You are special. You have experiences, you have skill sets, you have education, you have knowledge, you have amazing personality that there's none other in the world like that. And with you embracing yourself and seeing your value in this world, you can start being courageous in sharing your story with others, and maybe not coming up openly on like this, like openly on a broadcast or something like this, but sharing it with another person that you just met, sharing your lessons, and sharing some of the things you've learned, some of the difficult things you were able to overcome. Keep growing and encouraging in your relationships. I feel this is really important. And when you see value on yourself, when you see how valuable you are in this world, then you will reflect that. And then others see you as valuable, right? And I've noticed there's so many, especially women, that have great education, great credentials, and they are for years are in the entry level job and they do not know how to move forward, right? So it's valuing yourself, it's stretching yourself, reaching out to someone that is higher, maybe 2-3 levels higher than you are, building those relationships, learning from other people, and then mentoring others and helping others will really help you to move forward in building this collateral, this networking capital. I love that. Elena. Build that network capital. So thank you so much for joining in today. Everybody's really excited, putting a lot of thumbs ups and love for you ladies. I'm so thrilled to have you today.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
So I believe that when we share our lessons, when we truly connect with others, and when we deliver value to other people, we can encourage each other, we can support each other, we can build meaningful relationships, and more importantly, change this world to be a better place. And I see you next time. Have a great day.
Take care.